what I'll do is I'll have my awesome. I'll have my my video editor splice us up some little mini segments that we could post on both of our LinkedIn's and stuff. I really like what you're doing on yours. It's awesome.
Okay.
I don't meet too many people that have more followers than I do. That's pretty cool. And so you know, I'll send you some edited videos that we can kind of talk about, you know, some really neat little snippets and things like that for our LinkedIn, and then we can also potentially use it as a you know, as a podcast for my thing too.
Sure. Have we got you? Are we putting you on our podcast network?
I'm definitely interested in exploring that. You know, after I kind of get the book dropped and all that, and I get my podcast going, which should be starting in the next couple of weeks. So I'm very interested in exploring that.
Well, if you're when you host a podcast, you got to host on some network, and by putting it on C-Suite Radio, typically most people see about a 40% growth even when they've had a podcast. So it should give you some indication. We are the largest business podcast network in the world right now. So,
oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So that's great. So tell me a little bit more about the C-Suite network, and I would love to kind of hear your story of your personal brand and the network and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'd kind of just, you know, love to hear the background of you. I've heard good things from Kristen and a few other common friends that we have as well.
You bet. When you look at the C-Suite network, you want to think of it like a giant sequoia tree. If you've ever been in a sequoia forest or redwood forest, there's these large trees that, you know, kind of create a canopy, and underneath this canopy is a lush ecosystem. So the C-Suite network is very much like that. So it's a network of C-Suite executives who want to use their content, take their content, and we help them grow their business, grow their reach, grow their influence, and certainly, you know, grow their own knowledge. And so that's what it's all about. It's a platform for people to be able to operate their business and use their content.
That's great. That's great. And so it's how many people are in the network?
We have about 350,000 people who have opted in. All VPs are higher. Then you've got about 10,000 people who have paid in some level, shape, or form that are part of the network. We've got hundreds of podcasters and, you know, well over 1,000 influencers that are part of the activity, and of course, many more executives who participate in all the meetings that we have, the digital meetings. You know, we used to do a lot more face-to-face meetings, and now they're all digital for the most part, although we're starting to see some face-to-face come back.
Yeah.
But you know, the digital meetings have just been fantastic, and we've got people from all over the world who are joining us. And then, you know, we're, you know, helping them create podcasts, helping them blog, helping them create TV shows, helping them launch books, you know, helping everyone to use content, because the business has changed. The way that we used to do business, you know, was, you know, a little bit more linear. Now it's a lot more digital.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the reasons that, you know, I wrote, you know, Tactical LinkedIn Secrets. I saw a trend of what was going on in commercial real estate and B2B in general, and just how much LinkedIn was connecting people. I mean, I've always been a high level networker in the commercial real estate industry. And I just saw the power of it. And this was pre-COVID. And after COVID hit, it just accelerated all the eyes being just glued to the screens for months at a time. And I feel like it actually changed consumer behavioral trends in the way that they ingest information, you know, for business. And, you know, that's why I'm really excited about launching this book, because I feel like LinkedIn is on a lot more people's radar, and so is, you know, high level networking, because there's been so much transition. And my daughters are here, by the way, and congratulations on your daughter's wedding. I've got 3 of those, so you'll see them walking in the background a little bit. But
awesome, that's what it should be. We should have all of our children involved in the business and walking around.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. So I just saw a trend coming, and I found a passion for writing a couple of years ago. I started blogging, and, you know, I just found that I could put words on paper pretty quickly, and I had a good idea. And, you know, next thing you know, I had a book, and I actually, I kind of parted ways with my initial publisher just for a variety of reasons, but I ended up sending my my galley copy to David Hancock at Morgan James Publishing. Are you familiar with that group?
No, but there's thousands of publishers, and of course, you know, millions of books published each and every year. We have the C-Suite Book Club, and we help launch, thousands of bestsellers every single year.
That's awesome. So these guys, they're the ones that published. They're like kind of they're basically a business nonfiction company. At least they have a fiction side, but the nonfiction side is really for entrepreneurs. They did .com secrets and expert secrets. Russell Brunson's one of their guys. So I'm pretty excited.
Russell's a good guy. Russell's a good guy.
And so basically what we're doing is we're taking the galley copy that you had is going to basically be kind of scaled down to black and white, and just less printing costs with the full bleeds being removed and all that kind of stuff. And so they're going to do a lower price point book for me. And he said that what we're going to do is look to distribute it in the bookstores and airports and potentially internationally. So I'm pretty excited about that. So
that's exciting. That is good. That's very good. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I would love to hear about, what you guys do in the C-Suite network. I think it's great just from a connecting standpoint. I'd like to talk about that in a second. But just from an authorship standpoint, I would love to hear what you guys, do for the launches and that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, we've got a launch party plan that we do. That we also do the C-Suite bestseller TV. We do bestseller TV. So we actually interview you in a format that's a little bit similar to this, with a host that used to be an anchor on CNN and ABC. She's now full-time with us, and we do a number of books. We, as you know, Kristen, we did Stedman's book, Mark Victor Hansen. I've got Damon John this month on his new book. We've got Deepak Chopra. We do pretty much, we do hundreds and hundreds of interviews of business authors throughout the year. We turn that into a television show, and then that's broadcast out on Roku, Amazon Fire, all the major OTT sites. We also publish it, broadcast it into about 36 cities in about 58 million homes. We're on United Airlines. We're in so many different places. Plus, we give you a clip out of that you can use as a book trailer on Amazon, which will be very helpful for you. So we always like to do the books or the interviews pre-launch, so that you have that in as a tool to use as a video for your launch of the book, so people can see a little bit more about the book. And then when it comes out, usually about 2 weeks after you launch, we push out the episode.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah. That's great. So can I go look up some of those other episodes on your website?
Sure, you just look up bestseller TV. You'll see tons of them. Yeah.
Awesome. And it's a streaming show?
It's everything's on demand. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
Except for every Sunday night up against 60 Minutes. We have an hour-long show on Sundays.
Oh, okay. Well, That's great. That's great. So it sounds like the C-Suite network is pretty much like a giant connective network of people just looking to collaborate and do business and exchange ideas and that kind of thing. Correct?
That's what networks are all about. That's why LinkedIn is so effective, and groups like C-Suite Network. And a lot of people say, well, I'm already part of this network. Well, I've never been part of only one network. I've been part of many, many, many networks. And I find that collaboration and connection is pretty important for business. And without it, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm curious how, I'm sure you are obviously one of the ones that gets it, having 29,000 followers on LinkedIn. How has LinkedIn affected or augmented or helped the C-Suite network? I'd be curious to hear your take on that. And obviously, being a LinkedIn expert, I'd love to glean some insight from you about that.
Well, we utilize LinkedIn for a lot of different things. You can use it just as simple as making sure you're connecting to so many people a day and then reaching out to those folks. But anytime I'm looking for whatever it is in any city, in any state, or any part of the world, I can go to LinkedIn and find it and connect. And usually I'm connected through someone to get to that person if I don't know them directly. And I think that's one of the most critical pieces that you do, but you want to have a lot of different networks to be able to do that. But that's how we utilize LinkedIn. We also mine LinkedIn for a lot of data. There's a lot of tools that more advanced users have, like that we do, either in setting appointments, making connections, in doing invitations, These are all the ways in which we do it all the time. So I might go into a city and do a cocktail party. Say, for instance, today I'm in Boston. And if I wanted to go out and meet with a couple hundred people, it's a matter of pulling up all the people I'm connected to, and then those people at a second level, and writing a simple thing and doing a simple invitation. And pretty soon I got 50, 60 people I'm meeting with that evening.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like you're using the prospecting tools. You know, they've got some of the paid marketing and the lookalike audience stuff is pretty amazing once you get to the higher level of marketing. And a lot of people, it's amazing to me how many people don't even have LinkedIn Premium.
Yeah, totally. Or LinkedIn Navigator or any of the other tools. You know, the Navigator, before it became Navigator, of course, was Recruiter. And we actually used the recruiting tool that most people use for finding talent. We found that we used it for membership. And so we went looking for people just like we were looking to hire someone, and utilized it in that manner. And then, of course, we started collaborating with LinkedIn, and they, you know, we started showing them how we were using it, and they, of course, created products around that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, the Sales Navigator tool is really cool because you can just click on that introduction path and it'll show you different ways to get to, you know, pretty much whoever you want. It's really neat the way you can track the people's networks and see if, like in commercial real estate, it really gives you a competitive advantage. And a lot of my direct competition doesn't even realize that, like, I'm logged into their networks, so I can see when anybody in their network makes a change, when they change positions, whatever. And that's huge advantage, because when people change positions, that means accounts can change. You could pick up, pick up a new relationship that before you probably couldn't have, because they might have been restricted. And so, I mean, to me, from a business standpoint, you know, LinkedIn is about the best resource that you could possibly have. I mean, it's a publishing forum, it's an email forum. I don't know if you've noticed this, but like, if you look at my inbox, it's ridiculous. I'll have, like, you know, hundreds of unread emails, this and that. Somebody hits me on an email on LinkedIn, I read it right away. Even if it's a solicitation, I just don't get that many. And I get responses back from hitting up people direct email on LinkedIn, like 100 times more efficiently than I would if I would just like blast email them or even direct email them.
Well, many of the times email is not going through the algorithms that we're all using. A lot of people, you know, and a lot of companies like Google Mail and others actually wash those out, but LinkedIn allows you to get through.
Yeah. So it's you know, it's such a great tool. I know that you guys use it. I wanted to kind of get your advice for somebody that is young and looking to network. You know, maybe talk a little bit about what the C-suite would have to offer them, and you know, maybe just give you some advice there as somebody, you know, who I consider you know, a super connector of people.
Well, we'd love to have those people. The first thing is they got to be this tall to get in. So if you're not a VP of a company or higher, we love you, but we'll wait for you to grow up and be at that level. And that, not to be discouraging to other, but you know, C-suite executives want to deal with C-suite executives, just like billion-dollar companies like to do business with billion-dollar companies. And so the first thing I'd tell somebody is keep trying until you get to that level. But once you're at that level, certainly jump in. And the most important thing with any network, whether it's our network or another network, is you got to get engaged. If you join and sit there and think that it's just going to come to you, it never will. You know, it's like a baseball field built in the middle of Iowa. You know, build it and they will come. No, you got to build it to where people who playing baseball who are in Iowa want to go to, or at least want to go visit. So, you know, my advice to them is to certainly to get engaged. Now, with respect to LinkedIn, what they should be doing is connecting out to 10, 20, 30, 40 people a day, as many as they can. Typically, LinkedIn doesn't like you to go above that 100 range. If you start messing around 100, and if you do the same number every day, they're going to, the mathematical wizards there, the algorithms that they have, will see that you're trying to cheat the system, and that's not what your intent. You just might have a goal to reach out to 50 or say a 70 or 100 a day. If you do that consistently, it says, no, then you must be fake. So you want to alter those things and change it and be a little bit more random about it. But, certainly do that. If you did 100 a day or 50 a day at the end of the year, count that up. How many connections you would have made? You would have increased your network by this fold. And that's important for a lot of people to consider. Now, if you've got employees as well, why aren't you doing that with your employees too? Make it part of the, part of the package that, listen, every day I want you to go out and connect to 20 people a day. It's a very simple thing to do. LinkedIn provides the tools for you to do it. It says here, you may also want to connect with this person, this person. They build those algorithms for you. So those are great ways for you to build it. Now, as you mentioned, once you get to 30,000, which is where I'm at, you can't increase your network anymore. It's there. And so I just let it naturally kind of, go through its thing, even though I've got thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people still trying to link with me. I can't link with them anymore.
Yeah. You have to, they become followers, but if you keep out that dynamic content, it'll continue to grow organically. I mean, that's what I do. I honestly just went through all the top people in commercial real estate that I thought I would like to be in their network. I mean, these were people who were friends, people who were competitors, people I just knew from arm's length, and people I just heard of. But it was just, you put a well thought out message and, copy and paste a handful of them and just shoot them over there, make them a little personalized. And once you keep doing that, you're right, the followers compound. And what I really tell people about what you're talking about is, you should go out and LinkedIn, prospect and click and all that. And if you go on yours, you've got blogs, you've got your TV show, you've got great content, but it doesn't make sense for somebody to go out and do those connections and click if they're just going to be like, oh, look at me, I'm doing nothing. So it's like you have to do that in conjunction with a content creation plan or, and protocol, and you have to do it in a consistent cadence. And then your following it'll just pop, and everybody notices. And, it's just every now and then there'll be people, I don't know, come up to me at like trade shows and just give me huge compliments for writing a blog or, getting on video and sharing my thoughts or interviewing somebody or whatever. So.
Yeah, always begin with the end in mind. Most people don't do that. But what is it you want to accomplish with the relationship? What is it you want to accomplish? And what do you want to do? The C-suite network, we work very hard to say, what's your gift? What are you going to provide to somebody else that's a gift? Before you even begin, don't ask things for something from somebody else. Go give something to somebody else, whether it's a chapter of your book, some piece of advice, a blog, an interview, a free assessment, depending on what your industry is. But what did you give to somebody else? Now, many times I tell you, my gives are introductions from one person to another. And so I do that a great deal. I find great books, and from those great books, I mail out to, 100 executives and say, that people I think might like that book, and say, I want to give you one of these books. And they're not my books, they're your book. They're somebody else's book. And then I put the author to connect it with that particular person and make a gift of that book. And that's just one suggestion, but there's lots of others that you can do. But, just to go out and vomit up information or vomit up invitations is a bad experience.
Yeah. You have to definitely give something. People aren't looking to waste their time, and there's just so many time wasters out there that you do have to differentiate yourself by giving a thoughtful give too. I mean, it's just, and I think that's great advice. I'd also
most people, Dave, don't take the time to do a little research, to look at the person's profile. I can't tell, I own public relations firm, I own marketing firm. I'm on this, I'm on that. Or, somebody will say, hey, Jeff, let me help you get into podcasting. What are you, a freaking idiot? I own a podcast network, you want to help me get into podcasting? Is that right? I've been doing it since 2011. So shut up. Obviously you haven't Googled, they're blanket invitations and they don't take the time to do the thing. Or many times I'll have people say, I want to be interviewed on your show. Well, my television show is a show that's where I interview the executives at the industry at a live event. a live event. Obviously, you've never watched my show, so it's always amazes to me. The bar doesn't have to be great, folks. They're listening, you're watching right now. The bar doesn't have to be great in order to do a good job. Just take the time to be engaged and do it the way you would like to be treated. And if we all did that, holy moly, what kind of business we could be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about how the transitions that you've been through going from, and when did you start the C-suite network? It's been
about 2015, I think, was around that time period. Okay. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, I was coming off my show on Bloomberg. I had a television show. I was host of the show, The C-Suite with Jeffrey Hayzlett, where I take people into the boardrooms of companies where 99% of the people who worked at the company never got to go. And we would tell the stories of what happened, why they made the choices they did, why they did what they did. And as we were wrapping that show up, there were all these people coming to me, oh, we'd like to be part of your network. So we decided to create, at that time, a CEO network. We were in fact, the night before we launched it, it was called CEO Network. And I just didn't feel right about it. I said, why do we want to be CEO? There's all these other great officers out there as well. There's CMOs, CFOs, CIOs, chief security officers, and vice presidents, general managers, partners and owners and co-owners and founders. Why do we want to exclude all of them? And I said, we should really call it the C-Suite Network. And then we said, well, do you think that's even open? And so we went on and we Googled it, and it was available, and we bought it. And that night we switched the logo from CEO Network to C-Suite Network. And it's just been, it's been going great ever since. Last year, our podcast network, C-Suite Radio, grew by 120% new shows, 137% episodes, 450% in listeners, and we're on track to do more of that this year than last year. C-Suite TV is growing, C-Suite Book Club, all of our councils, which are vast, which are masterminds or peer-to-peer councils that we have. Women's leadership, veterans groups. We've got manufacturing councils. We've got a thought council. We've even got a mastermind council. So we have lots of different peer groups that get together. Lone Star Council out of Texas. I can just keep going. And so we have all these groups, and they're just, everything's growing like a big hockey stick. So it's exciting.
That's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit more about the masterminds?
Yeah, our mastermind, I tend to go away from the word mastermind in business because most people don't like the connotation of a mastermind, the name. It's been bastardized by so many people who are false prophets that are out there. Today you've got, a 19-year-old, being a life coach, running a mastermind. Well, you're not a life coach at 19. You're a teen coach, is what you are. So, this is a group of peer-to-peer leaders who get together to solve common problems and share. And by combining the principles of Napoleon Hill with the mastermind concept, so we've created a mastermind council, which just is a mastermind of mastermind. So it's a mastermind group of peers who throw together, who lead and throw meetings around masterminds and peer-to-peer council. So we have one group that's just dedicated to that.
Okay, cool. So are the masterminds are just is it kind of like executive retreats, or is it more virtual? Or
we have all kinds of everything. You have depending on what they are. Obviously, with COVID, we went for a lot of them went virtual. Like for instance, our thought council used to get together 3 times a year. They're thought leaders from all over the world who are some of the best thought leaders in the world, and they have a variety of different of IP that they represent and communities that they represent, and we get together. And used to be, as I said, 3 times a year. We went weekly for a period during COVID, and then went every other week. So we gather twice a month, and then every quarter we gather for a full day. That's online. And we'll eventually, starting in December, was this as COVID kind of washes out, because we're all very busy. Everybody that's been part of our mastermind is tenfolding their business, which has just been fantastic because of the power of the thought council, that peer-to-peer council. And so each one is helping each other tackle the businesses, tackle the challenges, tackle expansion and focusing. And they're doing joint programs together, joint books together, joint podcast shows together, and it's just amazing to be able to watch and see.
Oh, that's cool. So one of the ideas that I wanted to chat with you about is, I don't even know if mastermind would be the right word. I might come up with some different terminology, but I've been thinking about, as I start my consulting company, which that's what the book really is. It's a marketing asset that's, kind of an arrow in my quiver to go start the consulting. What I want to do is put together high-level executive retreats, but not with your traditional protocol to it. With me being someone that I consider myself an agile writer, like I can blog a lot of words in a morning, I can write a tweet, I can pretty much, create any type of content. I want to put together a high-level mastermind where part of it is dedicated to, creating videos, teaching people how to write, employing ghostwriters where they walk there and they might get they might write 2 blogs during the retreat, but they might have 10 to edit as a part of the classes too, that we have pre-written by ghostwriters. And as a part of that, the difference in this retreat or this mastermind and the other ones is we have video editors there, people to film it and all that. And they walk away with a thumb drive or everything emailed to them of, edited video clips, 12 blogs, and they have 70% of their social marketing for the year, and they just basically have to build that into a budget where they go somewhere like the Virgin Islands or the mountains in North Carolina, spend time with a bunch of other badass thinkers and stuff, and hang out and have a great time, and probably even get some business deals out of it to pay for the entire parade.
Yeah, if you look at the thought monetization model, and this is something I've kind of outlined and show with people. We start off with blogs, and you can work your all the way up to a super council, and in between there's, book, enablement tools, podcast, course, webinar, workshop, online courses, academy. What you're describing is a little bit more like what we call a challenge with cross between the academy and the retreat. But you'd have a little components of that, and then you have coaching, training, maybe an alumni council, subject role council, super council, and then there's lots of other things you can monetize off in terms of software services, hosting, TV shows, licensing, and more. And really, you have an axis of you. The more value you give to them, well, the more you can charge. The more time you give to them, then the more you can charge. And then you follow that content path, through with the thought monetization, and you get a great model. And that's a lot of what we spend in both the mastermind council and then also in our thought councils. We spend a great deal of time how to monetize those things in your sleep, and then provide people with the right kinds of tools, which you're spot on.
Oh, that sounds great. Well, I appreciate you providing that insight. That's a very interesting way to think of that. I think I'm going to watch this recording again to.
Well, we do. I'd be more than happy to share with you the model. This is what the thought, not just the thought council is, but what the whole C-suite network is. And that all of that is the sharing inside of the network. The more that we all share with each other, the more that we give to each other, the more it comes back. By me showing people the right kinds of ways to do things in terms of the monetization, or opening their eyes and saying, hey, you've thought of it like this. Oh, wow. I just thought of it like that. Oh, now I can see I can do this. I can do this. For most people, or especially thought leaders, Dave, they trade time for money. And so how is it that you can move past trading time for money? And that's the key question for most people, is how do you monetize your IP? And your IP is held in 2 places. One, it's held here in terms of that thought that you have, but it's also held here in terms of the values that you have and the way in which you present it. And so what we do is we try to concentrate on those things for people to make sure that we're leading in the right way.
Oh, that's really cool. That's a great way to put it. Well, Jeff, so curious, when's the next in-person event? Because I'd love to come. Actually, I know there's a lot of variants out there that we're thinking about, but I'm just curious, when do you think that I can, and this is more me asking selfishly because I'm looking forward to hanging out with all you guys and girls, but when do you think we'll be able to shake hands and do something in person? I'm excited.
Where are you based at?
I'm in Orlando.
Oh, I'll be in Orlando soon. We will be. We had an event that somebody wanted us to do in Orlando in mid-September, in conjunction with a Disney thing, and we finally said we passed. And sorry, something popped up. So we said we passed just because it was too much, and there was so much of the stuff going on with the variant thing that we just said no, 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 no. But I'm in Orlando often. I've got partners there, so we'll make a connection and make sure that we do it. And in the meantime, please, come to the digital discussions, which held every other Wednesday. Come to the Friday meetings, quite frankly. And then on the podcast side, I encourage you. I don't know where you were thinking of hosting it, but we host it. We give you a lot more with that. And then, of course, we sell advertising and split it with you. That's one of the other things that we do. And by the way, we're heavy into real estate. We have our top 10 shows. I think 4 of them are real estate shows. So
cool. Yeah, I'd love to chat about, maybe taking a role in a commercial real estate council. I think that my book, in my knowledge, I'm gonna do very well in the residential world. There are a lot of residential brokers out there that need to work on their brand. But in terms of of what we actually do, on the commercial side, I'm working deals with more like McDonald's, LA Fitness, Chipotle, and those guys versus selling houses. But
sure.
But commercial real estate is, I'm a retail kind of restaurant specialist, but I know the game about office and industrial and land, and with Amazon and stuff like that, industrials in Fuego. And luckily I'm blessed enough to live in a part of the country that didn't shut down as much, and we've got a governor that that kept things going, thank God. And so Florida is just in fuego right now for commercial real estate. Yeah. So I could not only be a good resource as a LinkedIn expert to the network, but definitely on the commercial side as well. I kind of like to create a mastermind on how to do a real estate development deal. I think there are a lot of people that would be interested in that, because listen, real estate development is like one of the only fields that you can go into and make a lot of money without any real formal education. You don't have to go to engineering school. You don't have to go to medical school. You don't have to go to law school. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be able to go put a piece of property under contract and learn how to build it. But there's also a ton of inherent risk with that. But what I'm saying is there, other than capital and knowledge, there's really zero barriers to entry to being a real estate developer.
Do you know Lee Mayer down there?
I do know Lee Mayer, yeah.
Well, he's a friend of mine. Do you know Sham Mirage?
I don't, but I know Chuck Woodall too. I do a lot of work with him.
Okay. Yeah. So I've done some business with Lee this last couple of years, and then on some investment stuff. And then Sham is in the hospital medical side.
Okay.
And we're actually doing a project up in Gainesville. I'm going to try to get that done tomorrow. It's only about $6 million, but a piece of property. I just became vice chairman. I say chairman. I'm vice chairman is my official title, although I'm really chairman. But of an online retail gun company out of Gainesville.
Cool.
And I'm buying up a piece of property for development, as well as a 50,000 square foot building that we're picking up.
Oh, neat. Well, we know a lot about Gainesville. If you want me to, look at it from a commercial real estate perspective.
All good. We've had people involved. They were involved with it before I got there. Cool. And it was $6 million to start with, and I knocked it down. I've said we're not paying that, and we just went and bought the guy's mortgage, so that would put us in a better position. So
yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
He had the guy was out of covenants with the mortgage, and then the SunTrust was bought by BBVA. Of course, you probably know that. And then and so we have a major inroad with them, so we just said we want that, so get us that.
Yeah. I put in a lot of bids on the Truist BB&T deal, and there's like 150 of them coming out in December that I'm going to be going after too for some of my development partners and stuff like that. But
very cool. I'm learning it on the fly. I'm not a big guy on that. I buy mostly farm and ranch land. That's normally, and a few buildings in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, but mine are pretty straightforward. They're easy. So
that's cool. That's where you spend a lot of your time, is in South Dakota?
Yeah, I'm in Boston today, working on wrapping up a pretty big merger that we've got. I'm on 14 boards, so I do a lot of board work and then take positions in the company. My last company that I just stepped off the board was DocuSign. You're probably fairly familiar with that.
Very cool.
Yeah. So we started working with that company, about the same size as Big Daddy, the gun company, and we took it public for $21 billion 2 years ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So since then, I've been doing a lot more of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Jeff, I also wanted to ask you a little bit. I really appreciate you, kind of looking at my book. I would love to kind of, hear your thoughts on it, and what you think the reception would be with, with the C-suite network, and any specific councils or people or anything like that you think I should target with this marketing asset in particular.
Well, I think anybody, well, certainly without question, sales side of it, right? Because sales are going to be much more active, marketing going to be active, more C-suite or owners are going to be much more active in knowing how to really utilize LinkedIn. I would be doing a lot more content of how to connect with people when you're not allowed to meet with them. I'd do a whole series around that, and people would be, because seriously, that's a big thing. And then also how to trust someone online. So what's the best way to do and look for with people in LinkedIn online, because there's still a lot of fraud out there. I mean, we get hit up all the time by people who are not who they say they are or what they say they are.
Yeah.
And so that would be helpful for a lot of people, Dave. So if you could, put together some courses or at least some workshops where people can come and just meet you, right? And then of course you pitch the book, pitch the counsel, pitch the counseling, pitch the coaching, pitch all that stuff at the same time. That's the name of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then come to our meetings, and then, offer to give somebody, meet with them one-on-one and give them LinkedIn tips or something along those lines. You'll get a few minnows, but every once in a while you'll get the whale. So because in our squares, you never know who's sitting next to you. You don't know if it's a brand new startup or it's $1 billion company. You don't ever know, because we typically on a Friday we might have 150 people there.
Yeah. I'd be happy to give like a every time I step on, I'd be happy to give a quick little LinkedIn hack or tip or whatever that could help the entire network. I've got a gazillion of them.
Cool.
From the book and stuff. And I actually have to run. I have a hard stop in about probably 5 minutes, Jeff. I got to go.
I'm gonna have Tricia and Teresa reach out to you.
Yeah,
I've got to talk to you about the council and give you some insight.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. But I wanted to ask you another kind of, this is my ask. I'd be happy to, like I said, be your LinkedIn or commercial real estate expert, whatever you want me to do. One of the super connections that I've been going after, and Joe Swinger actually originally introduced him to me because he saw him on the C-suite network, is and it's going to be for the next major version of my book, the published kind of mass distribution copy. But I would love to somehow get a galley copy in front of Robert Greene to see if he might be, if I could somehow coerce him into writing a foreword or doing an endorsement or something.
We can send it over to Robert. Yeah.
Okay.
If you send it to me, I'll forward it to Robert. Okay?
That would be great. I'll overnight
it. Hey, Jeff, thanks so much for agreeing to send this to Robert. Hey, Robert. And then I'll send it to him that way. Okay?
That would be awesome. That
no
would be
problem. Yeah.
Okay. That would be great.
That's what we do all the time. We're more than happy to do it.
Awesome. Well, is there anything that you can think of that I can do for you here in sunny Orlando, Florida, LinkedIn, commercial real estate wise, or anything like that?
No, just send good vibes and get business going. We need more business going, period.
Well, I'm excited about it. And Jeff, please let me know next time that you're in Florida. And other than South Dakota, are there any other places that you spend a lot of time in case we can cross paths?
I've been to Vegas 3 times in July. I speak a lot. So I'm still speaking quite a bit. And it's been turned on fairly quickly. I mean, July was a really big month. I did about 11 keynotes, which was bigger, 11 in-person keynotes, which is very rare given this last year. But I typically speak about 160 times. With the online stuff last year, I did a little over 320 online keynotes last year. So it was a lot more. But, that's what we used to recruit too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in Vegas a lot. I'm in Orlando. I'm going to be in Gainesville every other week. So I would be, which is only 2 hours. It's
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I'm always doing work up there and always looking at real estate. So that's phenomenal. Yeah. Just let me know kind of your schedule. We'll firm something up maybe in September, October over email, and just let me know when you're in Orlando too. I'd love to meet up with you.
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Well, listen, have a good time at your meeting. Thanks for Kristen, and thanks putting this together for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Kristen and Jeff. Really enjoyed it, and thanks again for getting me in touch with Robert. I'll get that book to you ASAP. Okay.
No problem. We'll get her done.
All right. Awesome, Jeff. Thanks.
Cheers. Bye-bye.